Hi and welcome back to the Quarry garden on a very soggy wet day. If you live in the UK, you'll know all about the floods and the storms we've had over the last probably 2 weeks now. The white garden was completely flooded, but the water has now just about gone. I'm just cleaning up and getting rid of some of the debris that's left, just so I can get in here, because I've got a bit of a casualty here. And that's this rose, climbing rose, and it's come down on the rest of the garden. As you can see, it's quite big, so I need to really cut it back so I can remove this climbing frame, which in a way it was not too bad because I wanted to take this out this winter and anyhow. And I'm going to dig this particular climbing rose out because it doesn't repeat flower and it's not a good variety. And I'm going to replace it with the one that I've got on the other side. So that's the first job of today. So let me get further in and see how much we can take out. Now I'm going to be quite brutal with this because it's coming out in anyhow. It's not a rose I want to actually retain. I did get it a few years ago when I started the white garden from the garden centre, and it was a bare root rose. And at the time, it didn't have a label on it, just said a white climbing rose. So I've never quite known what variety it actually was. Could hazard a guess, but more than likely I probably would be wrong. But I am going to add the Starlight Symphony Rose, which is a beautiful white climbing rose. It's got a very spicy smell, spicy perfume, and it's really a beautiful white climbing rose. And I do believe it was the Rose of the Year, the RHS Rose of the Year, so that's quite an accolade. And I didn't actually come across it from research. It was just one day I'd actually been to my local garden centre and I spotted it. And at that point, I didn't really know anything about it, and I just bought it and grew it. And that's when I found out how gorgeous it was. I looked it up and realised that I struck lucky with it, very lucky. And it actually grew incredibly well in my quite difficult conditions, because it is a very wet part of the UK that I live in. And I'll give you a glimpse of it because it's actually already on the other side. I grow it already, as I said earlier, and it's the healthiest rose I've ever actually grown. Now, I'm no rose expert. I don't grow very many roses, particularly here in the white garden. I've got a few at the front which I've seen better days this year. They haven't done very well, but this particular one, it's healthy. It's bloomed 2 or 3 times, even in the bad summer and autumn that we've actually had. And the leaves are just gorgeous, very dark green and glossy. You couldn't wish for anything more in a rose. Anyhow, let's get this out of the way. So this is the rose, the Starlight Symphony Rose. And you'd be pretty hard pushed to find a diseased leaf on this rose, even at this time of year, with all the wet weather that I've actually had. Now, I don't often like to recommend plants too much because obviously everybody's growing conditions are different, climates are different, but I certainly will take a chance and recommend this one because it's a really beautiful climbing rose. Let me show you other areas of the white garden that are still underwater. Up here in the top of the white garden, 2 borders which are still underwater, and there's actually a path going through the middle here, and that too is still underwater. But as soon as it drains away, and we've actually got some sunshine today, so I'm hoping that it drains away pretty soon, I'm going to cut back all of this dead material. Fingers crossed, add some bulbs. But for now, I'm going to make up some autumn and some winter pots for the patio. So these are the pots that I'm going to make up today. Started this one already. These 2 are to do from scratch. I wandered around the garden just to really pick up lots of different types of material to use in these pots. I'm going to use some shrubs, but they're mainly going to be offcuts from shrubs. This is from a rhododendron which was growing right over onto the path, and this will last for a good few months because the leaves are very tough, very waxy, and it won't brown at all. It will last right probably to early spring, so I'm going to use some of those. This is a regersea flower. Look how pretty that is. Wow. Now, earlier in the season, this was white, but obviously this time of year, it's gone to this muted brown red colour. I think it's really pretty. Could use this in a vase in the house. Will probably dry out too quick and then the seeds would all come off, but I think that's really nice, so I might use some of those. And I've got lots of hydrangeas, and that's what I'm going to use first. Hydrangea blooms. Now this is a pot that I started earlier. This is just a starter shrub that I bought last year, mainly to use in pots. And then I bought some of these white cabbages just from in a tray from the garden centre, like a bedding display. And you could leave it like that, but I've chosen to add some limelight hydrangea flowers in between each of the cabbages, just to give it that bit extra wow factor. And limelight hydrangeas, cutting these blooms back this time of year won't impact the flowers for next year, because limelight hydrangeas always flower on new wood. So you won't lose next year's blooms by cutting them back and using them in your displays. And that's basically it. Now that will last, the cabbages will last a good couple of months. The flowers, who knows, depending on the rain, maybe it's a month or so. Take it to your Christmas displays. But I think that looks really pretty. Now moving on to the next one. This is the next pot that I'm going to make up. Now these rather large, tall pots, I don't fill them with compost or garden soil. I actually use pots that fit inside of them, either with a lip that supports it at the top, or in this case, I've actually packed this particular pot with logs. Just logs that I burn on the fire. That's to give some weight to the pot so it doesn't blow over in the wind. Next, I'm going to add this evergreen, which I've used all summer long, and I've took the bedding from it. And you just place it inside the pot like that, make sure it's level, which, yeah, that looks pretty good to me. So we're going to do exactly the same as what we did before. Add evergreens all the way around. I've got some pyrrhias, they're really nice too. Cut those back, they're pretty. But I think I'm going to stick with this rhododendron that I've cut back, because I think that's really pretty. So I'm just going to add that around the front section, because I don't know if I've got enough to go all the way around. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I'm going to stick with that, and I think that'll look really nice. I've got a big clump here which I can use. Got quite a few stems on this one, so let me just take some of these stems off and add those to the front of the pot. And then it's just a question of adding whatever else you've actually cut back. Trying to get a nice long one for this side so it matches the other. Oh, I think that looks good. I quite like that. Right, so around the rest of it, I'm going to add hydrangea flowers. Again, limelight hydrangea flowers. These ones, at the beginning of October, we did have some very harsh frosts, very early for this time of year. And what it meant was that all of these hydrangea blooms, the ones that are in the top of the Quarry gardens, that is, not down the bottom where it's more sheltered, they actually all turned a lovely shade of red. So I'm going to add some of those, just like so, just to give a bit of variety. But I think I'm going to finish off adding them all the way around. think that's it. So if you require something more permanent, unlike these ones where you'd probably have to change in a couple of months, you can add evergreens to a pot, and these will just last for as long as you want them to be in the pot. So I've got a Carex grass, and again I'm trying to keep with the white theme because we're in the white garden, and this is Carex Everest. I'm just going to place this one at the back of the pot. Now this is not a very attractive pot, but it's going to fit inside of another one. So I'm going to place that one at the back, and there's lots of evergreen shrubs that you can get which have white veined leaves, and this one is Pittosporum Silver Magic. How pretty is that? It's absolutely beautiful. And again, evergreen, totally hardy. Again, just place it to the side, like so. You can either have the grass in the middle or to one side. I've chosen to have it to one side. Then you can add an ivy. This is a white variegated one. I've got a fern, which is a Harts Tongue Fern, Asplenium. Some of these words names leave me totally tongue-tied. Again, I'm just going to fit that in there like that. The ivy, which is what you would call your spiller. Like that round the back there to the side. And then something, because I'm in the white garden, I wanted something with a little bit of colour. I'm going to add some white primulas, and these again will last all winter long. You won't have to do anything until the spring. And how pretty is that? So let me show you all of the pots I made today, and also some that I made a few weeks ago for the autumn display. So I'm just using all of these foraged items that I had left from making the pots earlier. And I think this is probably the favourite thing that I've done all day, these outdoor flower displays. I'm going to make a few more with what I've got left, got some nice seed heads left. But that's it for today. Hopefully in the next few weeks be back here in the white garden to add the bare root rose, make more changes in the perennial borders, adding more bulbs, digging a few shrubs out that haven't done well this year. Fingers crossed we get some dry weather soon. But I'd just like to say a special thank you to any subscriber who's keep coming back to watch my videos. It's very much appreciated. And also to any new subscriber, thank you. Hope to see you soon. Bye for now.